Oh, sorry.
That's right. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if you are seeing it. Oops. Just wait a little bit. Okay, are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to present like two parts. The first one is kind of a small story about what history about what is happening in this idea of making Pharo-powered data stories. And the second one will be like the prototype that is a really alpha prototype that we're doing right now. So the idea is related with a set of let's say explorations that we have been doing here in Latin America, in Colombia. The first one is related with this idea of pocket infrastructures that are simple, self-contained, extensible, and local first. And we have done some, let's say, prototypes on reproducible research made with Pharo. Essentially, the idea is that we have like this, the idea of the image, and the image is able to contain a lot of digital artifacts that are related with making claims, extend those claims and making finally research with that. So usually this idea of reproducible research in the context of data storage is related with bridging code, data, prose, and visualization. And usually it is used in the context of science, but also will be useful in investigative data, journalism, and activism. In fact, I have over here, oops, not here, over here, yeah, an example of how we do the Panama Papers as reproducible research. So the idea is that when Panama Papers were released, we have like this huge release of data, but the curated data was really, really small. So we are able to create this kind of data stories that are embedded in a single image, Pharo image, with small connections to SQL-like databases. So you can have like really humble hardware to reproduce data stories. Yeah, and so we can use this kind of technology in the context not only of science, but also journalists and activists. And we have been doing this with civic activists. So the idea is that we can use coding and tech practices for activists in the idea of digital citizenship. The idea that you can use technology to protect and enact rights, citizen rights. And also, we are trying to deconstruct the ideas of binaries. I don't know, user and developer, source code and runnable program. And I think that Pharo and small tool systems are really well at this kind of deconstructing of divides. So we, for example, use these technologies to make some kind of meta comment around the publishing infrastructures for the book about data feminism. This is the book in the MIT infrastructure. I will show you this, but this kind of huge infrastructure that usually we see in the global north with a lot of stuff. This is the book that was published by the MIT that is trying to explore this kind of critical data divides. And we port this book to our pocket infrastructures. So this is the book when it's ported to our pocket infrastructures. It's the same book, but it's used stuff that is able to run from a USB drive. So this is the same book with the same content, but is hosted not in a huge server, but in something that is able to run from your pocket, literally, because it's just a fossil repository. You see, the file fossil is kind of a GitHub in a box, a really small self-contained infrastructure for managing code and publishing code with an embedded web server in just 3 megabytes of a binary file. So we are using this kind of porting content that is done in other places. It's called, I don't remember the name in English just at this moment, but it's performative publishing. So the idea is that we reunite in a collective fashion, and we start to write together and to collect information and to republish this information not only under open content, but also under open infrastructure with the source code available. And there is a software that I made. This is my first software I did in Pharo ever. I am not a programmer, not a professional programmer. I'm not a computer scientist. In fact, I come from my PhD was in arts and humanities. And the issue is that I would like to explore this divide between coders and not coders. And I create this tool for write, for visualization, for publication. And this tool was like the stuff that was in the, let's say, prehistory of the prototype that I'm going to show you today. So the idea was that this tool was able to do interactive storytelling, interactive documentation, data storytelling, and reproducible research and publishing, and was for non-coders, people like me, people who is willing to learn how to use a technology, but they are journalists or scientists, but not coders. The question was the question that I was exploring in my PhD was, how do we change the digital tools that change us? And well, there is a lot of details over there. I am not going to do into that, but when I meant this we was mostly about a local hacker space with diverse people. So we have, I don't know, people from different backgrounds, and we did a lot of workshops, but people like librarians, newbie programmers like as myself, philosophers, journalists, yeah, a lot of people that came with different backgrounds. So the idea was to go beyond the classical coder, and we did a lot of examples. I'm not going into details about that, but we did several examples. I am going to try to show you in a really easy way the tools and practice that we did. So we did a lot of workshops, like 70 hundreds of workshops since 2015. And we created a curriculum, and we are like thinking about numeracy. Not it's about like big data. It's about like thinking critically, making sense of numbers plus context. What is happening in quantities that talks about our context. So the idea is that we want to improve now code quality, user experience, and maybe make a Lepiter bundle, because when I start to do Graphoscopio, Lepiter, the software that I'm going to present you now, was not available. It was released the last year. But the idea is that I would like to do something that is similar to what Doom Emacs makes for plain Emacs. So this kind of bundle that you can like customize the experience, trying to incorporate the stuff that we're doing since 2015. And the idea is that we want to do that, like, let's say, driven by data stories. So I'm going to present you a particular data story that is related with this Malleable Systems Wiki. So I'm going to present this story first in Lepiter. Lepiter is this tool for making data story that is included in the Glamorous toolkit made by the Think team. And you have like this Lepiter tool. You can launch it, and you will have a set of pages. These pages combine prose, code, and data in a single narrative and cohesive narratives. And I'm going to show you this particular narrative. So this narrative is related with how we used, we created a Pharo interface for TiddlyWiki. It's loading right now. So TiddlyWiki is this tool that I think that shares a lot of concepts with Pharo, in the sense that it's a self-referential system that is modifiable inside itself by using it. So you can extend TiddlyWiki by using TiddlyWiki, and there is this kind of blurred distinction between the app and the document and the source code. And we are using that in our local community. And this is a narrative about how we migrate a website from Yugo, from the static site generator, to TiddlyWiki. This site was about malleable systems that you are able to change inside themselves. So this is like the narratives. This is how we can use the tools to migrate content from this static site generator to the TiddlyWiki. And over here, this is all the migration. And finally, over here, yeah, over here we have this wiki after running the migration. I'm not going to rerun all the code that does the migration, but the issue is that now, once I have done this migration, I am able to not only um, take the content from a static site generator to TiddlyWiki, but also to represent TiddlyWiki inside the Glamorous toolkit. So I'm going to do that like just now. I'm just reading the information from TiddlyWiki and putting that inside Pharo. And I am able to also do a network view of the wiki. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time. But meanwhile, the issue is that this data narrative is inside Glamorous Toolkit. And would be nice to be able to put this outside of Glamorous Toolkit. So we created a way of exporting this content from Glamorous Toolkit to the web. I'm going to show that while the system is running. So let me just show, oh yeah, it already ran. Let's do this. So I exported JSON file from the TiddlyWiki HTML file. I'm importing the content right now. It's loading, and in a while I will be able to show you how you can like explore this wiki. So this wiki is made of content migrated from Hugo to TiddlyWiki, and now is inside the Glamorous Toolkit interface. So just let me run this. And it's creating this kind of network view of the wiki that is not available, in fact, inside TiddlyWiki. And yeah, while this is running, I will show you the page that contains the same narratives, but is in the web. So here, this is the same narratives that I have been showing you. That explains how to do the migration, contains the same screenshots, and it was exported from Glamorous Toolkit. So it's taking a lot, but anyway, this is the same narrative, but this is exported inside. This is exported for the web. And if you see the source code inside, I will show you, is a really, really light shortcut. It's usually Mardip, that is a Markdown-inspired format with metadata. So this is it. Is basically the same content that I have in Glamorous Toolkit. Oh, it's not loading. But anyway, it's the same content that I have in Glamorous Toolkit with this metadata that allows me to export and to import back stuff that is shared online with the people who is using Glamorous Toolkit. And this is diff friendly. So I'm going to go back to my mind map.
Sorry, quick question there, Offray. So,
sorry?
A quick question. So what you just showed, the exported version, is totally static. So you have like inside of Pharo, everything is dynamic and you can reason and execute the code or the code snippets. But when you export it to the web, then everything is HTML basically.
This is static, but it's not HTML. This is done with this format that is called Mardip. So Mardip is a Markdown-inspired format that is rendered by using JavaScript. So I can keep almost all the code from the Lepiter interactive writing, including code snippets, text snippets, graph embedding. And this is only for publishing this to the web. But you can import this back because over here in the source code, you have this metadata. So each snippet in Glamorous is, let me try to go back to Glamorous. Yeah, there is an issue with Glamorous and Manjaro, and is that the screen freezes. So it's not going to work at this moment, as usual in the demos. But anyway, the idea is that in Glamorous, you have like these small snippets. And these small snippets allow you to put, I don't know, prose or source code or images. And those snippets are represented in the in the folder as these divs. They are just HTML divs with serialized stone metadata. So you can import that content back to your image. So it's just a way to share in a really easy way to people who has not Glamorous or Pharo your data story, and to import it back without losing information. So yeah, the idea is that this is a static page that uses this markdown variation called markdiv, and it's static, but you can import it back into Lepiter, into Pharo. And in fact, your question let me introduce this idea of what is this format compared to Jupyter notebooks. So it's really light. The markdiv library use weights 350 kilobytes. This is for markdiv. So supports export and import. So if you see, for example, a Jupyter notebook exported as HTML, you cannot import that back into Jupyter. You need to go to the ePython notebook source file. But in this case, you can take this markdiv file and import it back inside Lepiter with just the markdiv file, because all the metadata is serialized there. Well, the important one. And it's also human, computer, and div friendly. So you can like do div on this document, and you can see the changes. I will try to show you some divs over here. So that's the advantage. I think that it gives you this kind of bridge between just like we showed you the div. Yeah, but it gives you this kind of bridge between interactive environment for data storytelling like Lepiter, and a light format for publishing stuff in the web for people who has not Pharo installed or just want to share rapidly stuff. So this is the format. As you can see, is pretty light and also really div friendly because it's mostly markdown. So usually the way that most of the people is serializing data stories is with all these long JSON files that has not, I don't know, line breaks, for example. It's this really like hostile format for human reading and for div comparison. But this is not the case with markdiv and with the exporter that we have created. Yeah, I think that the Glamorous toolkit froze, it seems. So yeah, it's not responding. But anyway, the idea is that you could like load this into Glamorous back. We are at this moment working in the importer because exporting is working kind of good, but we have done some mistakes in the exporter is alpha code, so we are trying to import this back. So that was what I was trying to show you, this idea that we're doing a little bit more. So we're using this because we want to make two things. The first thing that we want to do is to like connect with this rich past since 2015 of civic tech, using technology to like bridge the gap between coders and non coders via data stories. And also we want to use let's say infrastructure that is provided since 2021 by Glamorous Toolkit at the thinking to project this past into the future. So this year is an electoral year in Colombia, and we are going to create something that is called data portraits. We have already presented these data portraits in several places, particularly in the Media Lab of Madrid in 2018. And we're going to create these data portraits of the Twitter presence of several presidential candidates in Colombia. Yeah, that's what I wanted to present you, and I'm open to questions. My English is like this, so I hope that you have understand me like pretty well, or mostly well, and I will try to answer your questions if you have any questions. And yeah, Glamorous is still frozen. So.
Okay, thanks, Offray. So 5 minutes for the questions, if there are any.
Yeah, I have a question. Offray, could you compare, because I know the first iteration of this was based on Pharo kind of before GT came along in its current iteration. Would you compare your experience trying to implement these ideas in the two platforms?
Yeah, so I think that in the, let's say, the infrastructure for creating something data story based in 2015, when yeah, this version of Glamorous was not there, but an old one. I don't know, it was kind of not there. You have like this really immersive environment that is Pharo, and you can create a lot of stuff. But you can like, you need to implement that by yourself. But now with Glamorous, you can like build on top of that. What I like from the my previous iterations with Graphoscopio, that outlining was like more prominent. The idea of having a stone-based like format for doing outlining, because the people who is used to outliners, I don't know, users of Org Mode or Emacs or Leo Editor or these kind of outliners, and now with this idea of tools for thought, I think that outlining is a really powerful experience, and you have like kind of a basic support for outlining. But for example, when you start to write, you lost your outline. You cannot like see the outline at the same time that the stuff that you're writing. And having this kind of 3 and 4 and forest view at the same time is important for people who use outlining for writing. So I think that outlining should be more prominent, but also I think that we have a better user experience when you are writing. That will be for me like the most let's say yeah, prominent difference. But also, for example, the issue that now Glamorous is frozen. Yeah, with the previous Pharo, with bare Pharo, let's say you have like a more fluent experience. Of course, printing is working stuff like, for example, the one single rendering tree, and that means like a lot of optimization in the like front of yeah, like rendering, but you can have like this a more responsive interface in Pharo. So you have in the like side of advantages, you have like this let's say yeah, like infrastructure for building stuff that was not in Pharo. But I think that yeah, outlining should be more prominent and the interface should be more responsive. And also, at least for me, I have like a problem in the sense that I am not good at chatting. I do not see. For me, chatting is really like, I don't know, this distractive prompt. I don't know. It distracts me a lot. So I don't like to have like a window of chat open all the time. And the non-synchronous communication with the Pharo community is better. It's like you can send an email and you will get an email back, or participate in this kind of asynchronous discussion. And I feel that if you are not in the chat all the time, you can be lucky and got someone at the same time as you. But for example, using the forum in the GitHub discussions is like, I don't know, it's a really empty place. So yeah, it's a stuff of balances. I hope that we're going to get a more responsive interface in Glamorous, and also that we're going to improve on asynchronous communication. And I hope also some kind of cross-pollination between, let's say, Smalltalk dialects. I would like to see something like this pretty responsive vectorial quiz interface in other Smalltalk dialects, and also the ideas that the printing is exploring in Pharo, in the, let's say, core Pharo.
Okay.
I have a question. It's possible to do. He still have time, Gio?
30 seconds.
So the question is about for those stories that you are having inside that dynamic story, not the one that you have exported. So how are they hosted, or how are they shared with the rest of the world?
Oh yeah, cool. They are just a really plain file. The source code that you are seeing over here is the way that they are shared with the world, with this metadata put in a div. And in the like lower part, you will see the MarDiv library that does all the magic. So it's just one liner that embeds a JavaScript library, and you can get with this metadata the ability to see the story in a plain file. So, for example, if I will try to show you this file in the repository where it is located, let me show you just really like in a quick way. So this will be like the source code, and it's really yeah, it's just mostly plain markup text with metadata hosted in a just also really like low infrastructure. This is just fossil. Is
my question was more, so if you have a bit of Pharo code there, the idea is to execute it like a playground, like a Jupyter notebook or something. So how do you do that? You cannot do that with a plain this markup. You need like a Pharo image behind, no?
Yeah.
And so if you have that, then that cannot be shared through the web, or have I got it wrong?
No. Yeah, you need a Pharo image to import that content back. So
So to view the image, you need to launch the Pharo image.
Yeah.
To view the story, sorry.
Yeah, at this moment you should have like the Pharo image to import the content back.
Is this where something like Code Paradise gets interesting, where in JavaScript you can have almost that self-embedded image and VM, and it's so easy to get that in a browser.
Yeah, it would be really nice. I know that Code Paradise exists, but I have never tested myself. So, but it would be really nice to have this possibility of like executing Pharo code inside the browser. But yeah, at this moment we're like interested in this kind of reproducible research, in the sense that if you have the image, you can like import back from a repository all the data story with all the supporting data. And in an executable way. But yeah, you need to have the image. But this idea of Code Paradise will be really powerful also in the future, maybe.
Or Squeak.js, I guess, is the variation of it. But yeah.
Okay.
Now got interested in genealogy, so this could be useful to tell the story of a family, or I might get in touch with you later on. Thank you.
Okay.
That's good. Thanks for